CGI. CGI is like kind of like 3D and it's one of my favorite things to do. I searched a lot of early CGI and it was horrifying, but some of them were funny. I'll say it's from the animation of the hand to Cars 2006. Now let's talk about it. 1972. In 1972 they make The Hand. The Hand was a computer animated hand. It's a short film from 1972. It was a a computer animated hand. It's an American computer animated short film produced by Edwin Catmull and Fred Craig. Produced during Catmull's tenure at the University of Utah. The short was created for a graduated course project. So, directors are Frederick Park, Edwin Catmull, produced by Edwin Catmull, Fred Craig, and cast so made by these two guys. Then, 1974. 1974, we get a very uncanny one. I got this really uncanny one as the first facial of humans. This doesn't happen with cars. Face and body parts. First talking polygon human. Well, it's very uncanny, but see someone saying that who never cares about careers, it means that so probably like Lofty from Bob the Builder who will be scared of that. In 1974, also in 1974, but later we get a funny one. In 1974, we get a funny one called Vision Sampler. So Vision Sampler is uh, about this magenta sphere called Maggie, I think, has a top hat and she's very funny. And at the end we see like an early version of Pac-Man or something. Then they were making more and more CGI, so not all the CGI was uncanny. Some of them were funny. Anima from 1977 was funny. Also, like Ernie Gerson from Cars, he appeared. So, or something like Ernie Gerson from Cars 1. He appeared in Anima 2. Come on, now let's watch it. Come on, guys. You'll love it. What happened to that bottle? This CGI thing, it's funny. That silly fucking sound. Man. You should be kidding me. It is very old. like the yellow stars that Jack in the Box looks in. Look, I think it looks funny. See this dollhouse, I think was a hospital or a church. See that green airplane? Actually, I don't want to watch it all because I'll get distracted very easily. I don't want to get distracted. I'm gonna skip some parts. And it's made by Charles Sue. Then, in 1978 is where we get the short films. The first CGI short film called On and Off the Circus. So this like the first hospital Ernie Gerson, he was part of the early CGI. Then we get let's watch On and Off the Circus. It was like the first CGI short film ever made. On and Off the Circus. It's like that's sounds kind of cool. You see like at night. See, yeah, he looks creepy. You see like this clown jumping from a platform and sliding. Old John high from a platform. He's like trying to suicide himself or something. Well, that was disturbing. Like he was like trying to suicide himself. See like that, the bunny. See like this boy right here. What's he trying to do? What's he trying to suicide himself? Very funny. Look the finishing films there is. I think it's funny. Just for some. Let to work in or something. Yeah. It's like that black. It's like a darker fine pieces. Pills. Let's toss it. So that's like well, I would have to say about it. He climbed down from the platform and he like tried to suicide himself or something. This is something disturbing. Where did they climb jump from the platform? They can be so disturbing of the platforms. like lamp electron from red stream to the bucket. Like he tried like suicide himself or something. Well, that was disturbing. Where did the clown fall? Well, then in 1979 we get a funny. Then in the 1980s, CGI was growing up more. In 1980s they made lots of CGI. So this one called Adam Powers. Adam Powers the Juggler of 1981. First motion capture CGI animation. You see lots of 3D shapes and you see lots of 3D. You see those shapes right there? It's like sphere, cone, and cube. Then what we get is there's also made commercials. And I forgot to mention one from 1978 also about a sphere spinning around a chessboard. There's there's a demo short film called When Mandrels Ruled Heaven. It has ray tracing and a monkey. A lot of these demos have a real nightmare dreamscape vibe. Here is a skeleton designed to play sports. This is to appreciate the bouncing of the ball, and that is a goal pool, and so they prepare two skeletons and use two skeletons that. So which skeleton? Which one? Or put like two skeletons. Which one will go for solids, and which one will go for stripes, and who gets the eight, and who parks the 8 ball wins. Through faces simulation as well. This was alternative as far as skeletons go through. I think this 1983 Ohio State demo does it best. It's just a hopping happy skeleton man walking through empty rooms with no ceiling. It's quite essentially lit. A plane is this. I remember this. It's from 1983. You can see lots of stuff. See like balls. Like you can look. There's like lots of robots. There's like rocket. Like it can look like a planet. I think. It's like that teddy bear. The music choice in the telephone. So, first, it's not decent. Every single image has no many things. In 1984, I get one of my favorite short films in the early CGI era. High Fidelity. So, High Fidelity is about shapes doing fun things. On a fun polygonal island, what I love so much about it is how working within the limitations of CGI at that time, or protagonists aren't humanoids, they are just shapes, and the background is covered in large polygonal following the camera. Appear the ray tracing bouncing rays from a camera. So camera is funny. Two-dimensional dog in a skybox should have self-shadowing, but I can easily suspend my disable. Or had new. Same. So there's more. They made more CGI. And there was a Pac-Man cereal commercial, and I forgot to mention something that in 1982 we had to get Tron. Do you guys remember Tron? That if if Tron was not made, Toy Story we don't get Toy Story. There's a creepy clown juggling. There there is a fake commercial that doesn't if so it doesn't matter at because it's just a fake commercial by Pacific Data Images, and it has all the tropes of international CGI to avoid of the background seemingly empty space, but at least there is some hills now and clouds and shadows. I like it. Come on, don't pay those expensive try. We'll get bringing the well. Then in 1984 is when Pixar was made. Wait. Pixar was not made in 1984. Pixar, so John Lasseter and the other, so then with Edwin Catmull, Ralph Guggenheim, etc. So all the Pixar creators, they were working with Lucasfilm, the one that made the Star Wars movies, and they're so popular. So they decided to make a 3D short. So they decided to make a 3D. Their first 3D short film made by Lucasfilm, 1984. So the first character was gonna be Bluetooth mode. The first character was going to be a blue android or something. This blue guy named Android. I think he's like an idiot. And they were planning to make a second character. It's gonna be a Bumblebee called Wallaby. So it's like a rain, like a rain, then like a jelly bean or something. Then so like Idris an idiot, he didn't know what to do, and then he's well the so and when Andre tries to escape from Walden, then he had to him, and that's how it ends. This short film is not my thing. I'm not into it, but I don't think it's funny. Like many of the per-tech demos, this had an ulterior motive for its creation, not just as a technical marvel, which it was, but as an artist's work to show of the potential of CGI as a medium for animation. Sure, that's been done before, but they really learn into it in here. The story is simple. A blue thing finds a blue thing that it's an idiot and his name is Andrew. He finds a bumblebee named Wallaby and then he runs away from the bumblebee. Then Wallaby stunts Andrea and then and but then Andrea throws his hat to Wallaby and that's how it ends. Pixar is generally a step ahead through all these demos. They always bring something new to the table and show truly state-of-the-art technology. But which, that being said, I don't I don't like this one. It's not my thing. I understand it has big technical achievements such as jiggly soft bodies and the motion blur look. Like that motion blur is not some other things that bothers me. It's this use of real textures on this low poly surface. The lightning in the background feels so, but in textures, those three models also way better than you expect from from 1984, but still, this was all due to limitations of early CGI. It's why it looks the way it does, and it works well within its show resistant. But I'm still gonna complain. There's a background. There are things behind the flaws of the animation, but it's like a parallel world where things don't look like the things they're supposed to. Character animations are better than what you'd expect through, but it is a far cry from for replicating that hand drawn animation style. Everything looks smooth. It moves smooth. It's too much. It's too smooth. A good general rule is that any human that has a polygon count equivalent that of a that of Banjo and Kazooie is going to have those select visual discussions. The use of emotion in the face is pretty great for the time. I'll give it that, but the scary Frenchman playing piano with laughing masks. It's that was a decision as he plays it starts to get a bit weirder and a bit weirder and eventually it develops into this. At the end, I guess it's like in Dr. Stone when all the people turn into stone. And yeah, getting humans to work in CGI even by this point was an issue. With this in mind, I gotta bring up there's money for nothing music video, and I love it. Like it's not too wacky, but the CGI work is still thing. But like, and they made more and more CGI. And so then in February 3rd, 1986 is where Pixar was founded, and the first Pixar logo was a gray square, and the Pixar word was also in gray. And the first short film called Luxo Jr. It's about two desk clamps, one called Sir Luxo, and he had a son called Luxo Jr. So and then they were playing with the Pixar ball that everybody knows. So Luxo Jr. is kind of like Pixar's pet or something. I don't know what to say. There he is. There it is. This Pixar classic received such a good response at SIGGRAPH. You responsibly couldn't hear the music or sound effects of all the cheering, and yeah, it's still great animation quality. It's a huge upgrade from the Adventures of Andrew and Wally B. The lighting and self shadows revolutionary at actually one thing that's always felt a bit weird. To me, it's the background. It's just nothing. It doesn't exist. The camera doesn't move either. Both of these technical limitations. It would take too much time to render. It feels a little creepy, right? Is that just me? It's probably just me. Another Pixar shot released around the same time as one of my favorites. It's Beach Chair. It has a chair and it touches water and it lives. It's 18 seconds long, but look at that. Water it was around this point. You could also find some more complex physics simulations going around. Another few demo from 1987 shows up. Rigid body simulations in a black void on a plane. One of the key aspects that makes computer animation say possible. It's automatic for certain tasks, calculating physical physics that look as realistic as possible. You could do it by hand, but if the computer does it, hey, it's gonna save a lot of time. I love these soccer balls. Here, look, they even bounce. And I suppose this is a good time to explain why the checkerboards and black voids are so prevalent. And all these demos, a checkerboard gives depth more so than a basic colored surface, and having a background is useless unless you just want to show the things that are right there were there why making it harder and longer to render just for this aesthetically pleasing nonsense. The quality of ads was improving at astounding. Then we have this one that is in 1987 they released the Luxo Junior VHS tape. But there's one but hey, there's one of my favorites. So they made more. So in 1987 they made more CGI. More, a whole lot of CGI were making in that time, and also, they were still working on the short film, so they're making more, they're making ads and other stuff over there, but still whatever. In 1987, we get one of my favorite Pixar short films. It's called Volume V Visualis Visual Visualization Station an Image Computer. We get volume visualizations, which in this case I guess means clouds, fluffy, good, honest clouds. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of fancy stuff around the point. Very created rhythm. A cloth demo was a cloth demo. I mean, it's not all that incredible on the surface. The cloth, yeah, looks like a good cloth. But listen, this original soundtrack and original song set and you're working more and more CGI. Then we get one feather. This video is gonna get explained now. Italian Safe and Breaking the Ice. It's a very popular CGI short film. It's set in a sphere. It's not gonna get so weird. Birds. I don't like the bird. That fish from Shark Tale. I'm sorry. Those eyes ruin it for me. It's technical achievement. I said you get rid of the human eyes on birds. Neutron eye is such as uh, there's a 1987 one that it gets creepy when I watch it on TV and I don't and I hide under the blankets. It's called Mental Images. Mental Images. It's one of those short films. Well, this is Mental Images, intended to be an abstract short film, which it is. It's a little weird, but it's got some atmospheric moments and a sense of skill. The lighting, it's all good. These reflections and the end, they're really good. I mean, really good. And we have another Pixar shot called Red Swim. I have some mixed feelings about this. And one as well, I think the outside setting and lighting here is exceptional. The reflections are amazing. The lead sign, the rain, it's all great. The lightning on the bikes, her brother here bothers me a bit. But whatever, it's a bit plasticky. A lot of the lightning in this for the whole decade is a bit plasticky. So the routine happens in the city at night, and we go to Evans Bikes. Evans Bikes reference to event something I remember, but it's a Pixar worker. Look at this bike store, but here in the front corner with the red orange the main character, red unicycle, and there's like the 50% off tag. And then here the real creepy part is when you get inside the dream of Red, and we find this rubbery faced clown named Lumpy with the eyes of one Carl Weiser. Clowns, they don't work in CGI. Let's fight. It is the clowns, I'm assuming, and assuming there is a lot of working going into the patients. I softly body mash of this, guys, because we're back into the black void in 1988. But let's keep talking about Red Square. Like Lump the Clown was Pixar's first human figure, and then he was all bad made. But then, right, he sees that everything was just a dream, and he goes back to the discount corner, and then, like, this short film was a complete success in Europe. And then, they were making more and more CGI. In 1988, they released the Red String VHS tape, and then they were releasing more. So in CGI they were making more stuff, but then in continuing 1988, we see something. And as a fun fact, Red's dream is based on Ed's dream. It's about Edwin Catmull's dream, and he had a dream about the time that he won an Oscar, and then we see something. So next short film called Ten Toy. Ten Toy is, I think everybody remembers that one. Ten Toy from 1988. It's like the where Toy Story is based off. And Ten Toy is about toys becoming alive. You see this? It is red wind up band man from the 1940s named Tenny. Well, Tenny, and he was smelling good out of his package, and then why it looks so flat, everything. Then as we see a picture, let us see a is as a fun fact, we see that then we see something that made me impact. It was this is something that I like a lot, but a lot. I love it. That so as a fun fact, we see a drawing. We see a drawing in the wall, and is a scene from Luxor Junior. Then the creepiest thing is this baby right here that has raping face, and he begins. And John Lasseter says that Ten Toy is based on some videos of his nephew Timmy. And he threw them away, and others like said this baby that looks so uncanny. Like it was Pixar's second human figure. It also looked horrible. It's put me in the uncanny valley. Right. And then we see something that made me impressed. It was that as when the this baby like that tries to bite the top ring or ring stacker, and then he throws it away. And then he breaks some breaks a string of beads. Then Tenny he tries to escape from the baby, and then Tenny crashes his pack in the package that he came in. Then goes back to where he was, and then he gets hiding under the couch, and then he sees the scared toys that they were scared of the baby. And then when the baby falls off and begins to cry, Tenny he feels sad about what happened. And then he wants to make the baby happy. And then Well, the baby was trying to shake Timmy, and then the baby puts like a bag on him, and then they get out, and then that's how the story ends. It's not my thing, this story, but I used to like it all the time when I was a kid, and I was like 10 years old, I think. And so then let's continue. So then we see something and that made me interest that. See, like everything is so flat, but I like the background characters, and they're just randomized. And you see that, like the wood of the floor, or like the fabric of the couches, or the newspaper in one of the couches. It's like a magazine, I think. Then like each animator needs to make one of each choice. So some of them made the one of them made the clock, one of them made the fire hydrant, and then one of them made the basketball. So Ralph Guggenheim made the robot, and also one of them made the helicopter. Then we have the swimming pool man, the or the race car man, and others. Edwin Catmull said he made the elephant, that it was on his software along with the helicopter ship. I mean, it was along. So then we see something that made me impressed. It was something that nobody knew. But then they're making more and more CGI in 1988. In 1989 is where Tintoy wins an Oscar as the best short film of 1988. And also in 1989 we get a Tintoy VHS tape. We get it, and it says best short film of 1988. I was trying to find this. I'm trying to find the Pixar short film VHS tapes, and also in 1989 we're making more CGI, but Pixar decided to make a short film called Neck Knack. Neck Knack, it's about this snowman named Neck, and he was trying to escape of his snow globe. Well, he was trying to escape of his snow globe, and that's like a scene. But these 7 years, and like Sun Israel and Sun Egypt and others, and then then we get more. So like Nick was trying to find some ways how to escape from his snow globe. The first way was trying to use a hammer, but it failed. Then he was gonna use a drill, but it also failed. Then he was gonna use a blowtorch, but it also failed. Then he was gonna use explosives, but it also failed. Probably he needed more explosives. And and then he falls off, and then he opens, and then at least he finds a door, and then he falls off in a fish bowl, and then we see a mermaid, and then he gets back again in snow globe, and then that's how the story ends. And that they made a remaster version that from 2003, and it came in a Finding Nemo VHS tape. And then we see something that made me impressed. It was that. So in the remastered version of 2003, we see that so to Sunny Miami, they took off that part, and they made it as a censorship because a child can be scared of that. But everybody can be scared of that. And I like it more than the original one. And then Pixar wanted to win budget, they decided to make commercials. The first commercial, it was about the Tropicana orange juice. And then in 1990, so then they made more CGI, but in 1990, they they released the Knick Knack VHS tape, and then Pixar from 1980, like they wanted to work with Disney, and so now the Pixar logo, so the Pixar logo is still the same, but so the Pixar word is still in gray, but they took off the square because it looked too old. And their next commercial was about the lifesavers holes from the name from starting 1990s. Then there was a Listerine, no, there was a Listerine, and there was Trident. And then they made lots of commercials. One of my favorite ones is the Toy Story grand opening from 1999. 1999, the prototype version is that here we see the store, and there are some toys that appear in Toy Story, and then there's some toys that are recolored from toys from Tin Toys. Like we see that the clock, it used to be red, so they made the red one again, but this is like a new version that are like in the 1990s. So you see, they made a red version of the clock, and the red clock then made a new version that is way better quality. And they also made the blue, yellow, and green, but they are all still the same shade. Then we see something that made me impressed. What's that? Then we see something that made me impressed. So they made of the airplane. They don't have the yellow one anymore. They made red, blue, and green. Of the robot, they made a new version of the blue one. They made a pink one. And of the race car, so it used to be red, and the driver's helmet was black, and it had a silver grill, and the red one was from the 1960s or something. And they're like in 1990, so the new version is the other car is pink and the driver's helmet uh is blue, and it has a silver wind up key, and I want to have that one. And then in the version for TV is what it has more toys. I have like more has more, but that maybe that they put it of the race car are. So besides the pink one, all the so it made more, but all of them they have the wind up key, silver, all of them. They made orange, two shades of green that they are forest green and normal green and yellow, but all the helmets of each driver were all blue. And then Pixel was planning to make a 30-minute. So Pixel was planning to make a 30-minute long. Like a 30-minute long. It was an hour and a half Christmas special called A Toy Christmas. It's gonna be released uh, like in December. It's gonna be released in December something. I think December the 20 December 23rd, 2090, or so I don't mean that. So we're gonna be releasing December 23rd, 1990 or 1991, and then Bluetooth mode. Something that made me curious. It was what is that? Animation was gonna be about Timmy, and he gets lost on a family road trip. Probably the baby has a big brother that's like 12, 13, or 14, and he's gonna take good care of Timmy. And then Timmy, he escaped out of the car, and he was gonna be out of the car, and so it was a van that they were in, and Timmy got lost in a family road trip, and then he got out, and then Timmy he gets trapped in storage, and then 9 years late. So then, uh, years later, Timmy wakes up in the 1990s and in a mega store during Christmas. It was the Toys R Us grand opening store. It had like er, he saw some of his old friends. He saw some of his old friends, and there was a a there was was a it's gonna be ventriloquist man man called Woody. Before being the cowboy that everybody knows, for he was a rude one. For he was rude and was bigger size, and then there are gonna be some odd toys that are gonna be like, then Tenny who are gonna get lost on a daycare, and then the story continues. But then Disney said that Tenny he looked too old to appear in Toy Story, so they're gonna change him to a new toy. They're gonna be like a space ranger. First was called Lunar Larry. Then the next one it was gonna be called, I don't remember his name. I think it was something more like mortal or brutal Venus or something. Then they were making more prototypes, but all of them failed. And finally, Buzz Lightyear. But Pixar didn't. But then Pixar didn't want to a make a fairy tale with Disney songs. So the Toy Story are detached from 1991 or 1992 are so uncanny. You can see Sherlock so it's here. Then we can see the old Woody that was very bad, and then Leonard Larry, and then Leonard and Larry falls, and then the old Woody that was very bad said that Andy liked toys that can fly. And then we see more stuff, and then we see that where Woody was being stuck into a car to the race car from Tin Toy and the Toys R Us grand opening, but this is the yellow one. Woody was telling to the driver of the race car to don't need the car, drive the car, you stupid dog. And then they're making more and more commercials, but then in 1990, so then in November 19, 1995, they made the first complete movie in 3D called Toy Story. Here's where Woody, a vintage cowboy from the 1950s, and then Buzz that is a astronaut from the 1990s, and then Woody was Andy's favorite toy. Andy, he was an 8-year-old boy that loved toys, and then we can see that here it's way better than the old times, and the older times, and then we can see that human characters look way better than Lumpy the Clown from Red's Room or the baby from Tin Toy, but you can see something in Sid's room. You remember Sid, the Bat Kid, and he's like kind of 10 years old, or I think, and he's very rude. It doesn't mean he's sometimes like a villain, but he's not a bad. It doesn't mean that he's not a bad guy or a villain. It just means that he just wants to have fun destroying toys, and he's like a bit grumpy. But then we see that then in 1990s, and then lots of Toy Story merchandising. In 1996, Pixel decided to make a short film called Jerry's Game. Remember one of the old men playing chess and he had a clone and he's playing against himself and there was a clone of him and then they're playing chess both of them and chess and you guys remember that? It's in the next generation of Pixar short films and then then in 1986 they made Tiny Toy Stories. It's about that where it's about where some of the Toy Story characters like Woody, Buzz, Rex, and Ham, and there are also some Mr. Potato Head and Slinky Dog, and they were like saying something. I don't remember what it was, but it's a bit of and there were like some of Sid's mutant toys and other characters that appeared there. There was a version of the first 5 Pixel short films of then. In 1988, in 1998, they made Pixar decided to make their second movie called A Bug's Life, but about this ant named Fleck and his girlfriend Princess Anna and the tiny one Dot. That's like she was like the smallest of all characters, and then there's like remember that the circus box and see that so Fleck's best friend is Heimlich the caterpillar. I'm a, I, yeah, Heimlich is a funny one, but he's very fat. He's fat and he's the second largest one. But the largest one, I think it's them. And there's more characters. So the villain, like Hopper, the grasshopper, he's very rude and very bad. And his younger brother, that is like one of his henchmen, is one of his henchmen called Molt. Molt, he's like the vice president. Then we have Thumper, he's very scary too. Then Axel and Loco. Then in 1999 they made a sequel to Toy Story called Toy Story 2. So what happens to Toy Story 2 is one of my favorite interests, just Jesse, Bullseye, and other characters. And then we see something that made me scared. That then in so in 2000, the year 2000, Pixar made another short film called Free the Birds. Do you remember that one of the funny birds? Were very funny. Then we can see something that in 2001 is where was one of my favorite movies. Monsters Inc. Do you remember Monsters Inc. from 2001? That movie is very old. It's one of the earliest Pixar movies there is. It's also part of vintage CGI and it's about the big blue one, solely he has lots of hair and the simple one with no hair, the round one with the green one, just one eye, Mike. He's very funny. There's Mike's girlfriend called Celia. Then we have the little girl Boo. Have the villain Rainbow Bog. I see like the green lizard, but I don't remember which type of lizard is he. I think it's a chameleon. I don't think it's a chameleon. I think it's another species. And there is a lot more characters. Like one of the funniest ones is the abominable snowman. Then in 2002, we get the first Pixar short film based on a movie called Mike's New Car. Mike's New Car is about, well, Mike gets his new car and it's very popular. The short film. Then in 2003, we get Finding Nemo. That one about it's about clownfish. So it's about this tiny clownfish named Nemo. He's like an 8-year old, and his human version will be like an 8-year old kid. And Marlin, that is his dad. And then there's Marlin's friend Dory. She's a blue tang fish. Then it gets struck by some by a dentist called Philip Sherman, and he's like a kind of like a bad guy or something. Crush there's like Crush the turtle, and there's a little one called Squirt of the Bruce the shark. He used to be a villain, but now he's a good guy. Have the leader of the tank gang. I don't remember what type of fish it is, but it's Gale. Remember Gale? Gale, he's fine. Gale, he's like the leader of the tank gang. Has like the have like the gills on him, and then let's see, other ones like Jock the shrimp. Is this wait? It's like French accent shrimp. Oh the mer, oh blah, ski. And I remember the yellow tankfish Bubbles. Bubbles is a funny one. Then we have the starfish, the pink starfish, Peach. Peach. So Peach, she says that she comes from eBay, and I like this movie a lot. Then we see something that is. Then we get a 2003 short film of called Bounding. Bounding is one of my favorites. Bounding is a cool one about this jackalope, and just like the lamb and other characters. So I will make a Bounding parody. It would be like Peter Sam as the jackalope, Duncan as the lamb, and some of the extras that were laughing at the lamb will be like the pea shooters or the snow peas, three Peters. And probably I'm gonna put those ones. I'm gonna put some of the Cars characters or Pokemon or other things that I like. I like this one. In 2004 is where they released Incredibles, a superhero family that they live in the 1950s or 1960s. That they live in the 1950s. And then so and also in 2004 or 2005 they made the Jack Jack Attack short film. The Jack Jack Attack is where Jack Jack's babysitter called Corey, I think was her name, and like his parents were out, so he misbehaved sometimes, and other things happen. Then in 2005 we get One Man Band. Do you remember One Man Band? It looked up so when the tag, well, when the name of the short film appears or when it says the end, I get scared a lot. This short film came in a Cars VHS from 2000. Cars is from 2005 or 2006. I've made around those times. Like one of the most antique short films I saw. One man band. The text is so so like one that touched like the had like the boo boo. I'm trying to put like raw like Wreck It Ralph, and so they look like a gesture touch of like lots of violence, like maybe like Fix It Felix or something. I mean Felix, I think that's his name. Or the tiny one can be like I plan to put Beautiful Monster Inc. And then finally we get the last thing of vintage CGI there is in the world, called the last thing of early CGI released in 2005 or 2006, called Cars. Cars is my favorite. It's about this red race car called Lightning McQueen, and that and then he's trying to defeat a a green race car called Chick Hicks, and it doesn't mean that it means that he's actually evil. Then Mater the tow truck, that he's Lightning's best friend. Sally Carrera, that she's a blue Porsche, and she's Lightning's girlfriend. Let's see when they get married, and other characters. And they released this on VHS. And that was all the things that vintage CJ needed to offer. Thank you for watching.